Satirical revue has always been an important and popular way of protesting against the state. The subject matter of satire is most frequently politics, sexual relations, absurdity or stupidity of any kind. Although it deals with harsh realities, humor is used as a weapon.
And I always believe that if you can make people laugh, their hearts open, and then you have the opportunity to plant something there, whether that's something for them to feel, something to consider, or something just to have a wow, eureka moment about. And you can't belittle the power of humor, the ability to make people laugh together and then consider something together. And sometimes humor ameliorates the harshness of a message, because some messages have to be harsh. You can't really water the message down, but with a little bit of humor, you can make it slightly more palatable.
In South Africa under apartheid, the subject matter of satire was primarily political.
I'm not here. I'm not in the show. I do not want to be in the show. I cannot afford to be in the show. And even if I was in the show, you could not afford to see me in the show. However, I am in the show. And I'm in
the technique of reduction devalues the victim by reducing his or her dignity. The satirist also uses mimicry to reproduce the gestures, habits, and patterns of the victim. They distort and exaggerate features to comic effect. Satire can be cruel, but it's highly effective in revealing what people fail to see beneath the surface. The satirist puts on a mask in order to unmask others. Many South African solo performers have used the satirical revue form, the most outstanding being Pieter Dirk Ace. Others have been Casper de Vries, Solly Philander, Trevor Noah, Loyiso Gola, and Mark Lottering.
It's a tricky issue because I think satire is for clever people, and I don't think that I'm that clever when I see other clever people on stage, like the wonderful Pieter Dirk Ace. But it is important, and I think that the closest it can come to in my work perhaps is when I go into my characters. I've got this one character, for example, called Auntie Merle Abrams from Belgravia Road in Athlone, and the audience laughs when they hear and see this character. But when you look at what she says and you closely listen to it, a lot of people laugh because it's just, I can't believe that that actually came out of her mouth. And then they laugh also kind of out of embarrassment because they recognize the character, because it's so familiar to them. And the things that she says can be quite hectic.
My maid Lydia from Googs will be very upset. She's always saying to me, Madam Merle, you must stop taking a taxi. I've been trying to get her to stop calling me Madam for years now, but I never had the time, you know. And she says to me, she says, Madam Merle, you must stop taking a taxi. Man, I get on so well with my maid Lydia, you know. Just the other day, Lydia is sitting in the lounge, she's sitting on the couch, eyes half closed, and I'm vacuuming all around her. No, you can't anymore just give orders, and you can't, no. Things have changed, eh? They answer back now. Just such big sentences. Ek sê, my gids, waar kry jy jou subject, predicate and verb? Anyway, you know.
I know that it's important to do because it comes from truth, particularly in a South African society. It's based on truth, and I think if you put it out there and people are thinking about it, you know, it's what they do with it, ultimately, that's important for me, to get people thinking about different stuff. And the tricky part is that my job is to keep people laughing.
Some satire takes the form of satirizing a culture or style of behavior rather than specific individuals.
Van Artes van Grootoor started as a revue sketch. It was starting in 1920, the 20s, when the Afrikaans family were on the plaas and there was droogte and die Engelse, die donderse Engelse en die kappies en ons land, ons volk. And so it was that sort of wonderful humor. Toilet humor, kakpoep grappies, and a lot of sprinkling of politically incorrect jokes about Afrikaners and God, Afrikaners and civilization. Davie and I knew that censors would cut swear words. So we made words up like, oe genotskrots. Like instead of saying, oh shit, she would say, oe genotskrots, oe hoenderpastei. They banned those words because they said they were obscene. So the wonderful moment was asking the censor board, why did you ban this word? Because it's obscene, Mr. Rice. What does it mean? They couldn't find it in the dictionary.
Satire is still commonly used in theatre today.
Dictators 101. Yeah. You are here because you have won wars of liberation against the colonialists, the imperialists, and the McDonald's globalists. In doing so, you have earned the right to oppress and abuse your own people.
People were suddenly saying, oh dear, what do we have to write about now that apartheid is gone? There was just so much room for us as writers to explore the contradictions, the emerging ironies, the emerging kind of complexity.
Now, if you all just follow me and my brolly, but please, stay close together. It makes it easier for the police to protect you. And just so you know, the guys in blue with the automatic rifles are the police, and the guys in brown with the panic buttons are the private security firm hired to protect the police. So you'll be safe, very safe. Follow me.
Satire has become popular internationally as stand-up comics intersperse political satire in between other topics, and so give it a broader appeal.
I grew up in South Africa during a time known as apartheid. And for those who don't know, apartheid was a law in South Africa that made it illegal for black and white people to interact with each other, you know? If you did that, then you would get into trouble. So for instance, there's a black young lady here sitting with the white guy. If you did this in South Africa, then they'd arrest you guys. You couldn't, during apartheid, you couldn't, well, they'd arrest the black girl. They just ask you not to do it again.
Theatre for Reconciliation challenges the idea of a divided society by presenting people from all racial and cultural groups communicating, sharing, and understanding each other. It aims to depict possible solutions to these divisions and portrays a potential South Africa. It deals also with the problems of creating this rainbow society. Truth in Translation is a piece of theatre telling the story of the interpreters at the TRC with the music of Hugh Masekela. This production toured to communities divided by conflict, both locally and internationally, to promote the possibility of forgiveness and reconciliation.
Those appearing before this commission today will be Mrs. Notle Mohapi, Mrs. Elizabeth Hashe.
We are charged to unearth the truth about our dark past, to lay the ghost of that past so that they will not return to haunt us.
Mrs. Ngabakaz Godolozi Nombuyiselo Mhlauli.
And that we will thereby contribute to the healing of a traumatized and wounded people.
Mrs. Nomonde Kalata.
For all of us in South Africa are wounded people.
My Babo! He had 43 wounds on his body. They poured acid on his face, chopped off his right hand. Why? Why did they once buy Sixelo's hand?
Brett Bailey calls his theatre Theatre for Reconciliation. He is motivated to make theatre accessible to people right across the social spectrum of this land and to stimulate interest in this country's heritage of cultural forms while injecting spirit into theatre and our lives.
There's too much crime in this country of ours. We can't even walk free in the streets because we are afraid. These young men, these youth don't care a thing.
Aspect that I've picked up from my travels in Africa, my looking at different performance forms is ritual drama and how drama is so often used to either make a connection with the spirit world or to bring people together in a sense of community. They're ritualized actions which continue, and often these are very dramatic. Imambo Jumbo looked at the story of a Sangoma, Nicholas Tlaleka, who went to fetch the head of his ancestral king, King Hinsa Kapalo, from England. So it was very much the Sangoma story, and he believed that by bringing this head back to South Africa, he'd bring peace to the country because he'd put this demon spirit, which was missing its head, to rest. And so it was a very spiritual thing that he was doing, and he's a Sangoma, he works with ritual. So I worked a lot with Sangomas within that performance, and the whole piece was actually structured as some sort of Sangoma ceremony, that with the intention, or the stated intention, was to bring peace to the audience and therefore to spread it out to society.
He says that he wishes to pick out the threads of racism and fear which run through us.